Hi dear students, welcome to Gita's classes. So finally we have come to the last topic of Unit 1 in Discrete Mathematics, Proof Methods and Strategy Part 3. So here we are going to see some more methods of proofs. Okay. So in this exhaustive proof and proof by cases. Proof by cases. Next topic is this one only, exhaustive proof and proof by cases. So actually sometimes we cannot prove the theorem using a single argument that holds for all the possible cases. Okay. So now let us see a method that can be used to prove a theorem by considering different cases separately. So this method is based on a rule of inference. Okay. Now let us consider if the given statement is P1 and P2 and P3 and so on and Pn conditional Q. This is what you have to prove. If you want to prove this, then you take negation. Okay. That is contrapositive. What is it contrapositive? Its contrapositive is not Q conditional not of P1 and P2 and etc. Pn and Pn, right? Sorry, negation of, yes. So negation of Q is equal to, now what is P conditional Q? You know that P conditional Q is nothing but not P or Q. This is equivalent to not P or Q, right? So here not of not Q, so not of not Q or negation of P1. See here negation of, you take it, if you have 2, we have seen De Morgan's law. Same thing you can apply, it can be extended for n values also. So it will be not P1 or not P2 or etc. or not Pn. So this Q, this will become Q, that is Q or not P1 or not P2 or etc. not Pn. Okay, that is Q can be written as, for my convenience I am taking it as Q. What is PRP? PRP is equivalent to P only. Okay, similarly P and P is also equivalent to P only. So Q or n times I am going to take this, or not P1 or not P2 or etc. or not Pn. Okay. So for my convenience, I am taking this Q as QR n times, right? So now you can combine. Now we can apply, all these are R only, right? So we can use associative law. All the symbols, all the connectives are R connective only. So we can apply, we can rearrange them. Okay. So first I am going to join this Q and not P1, Q and not P2 and so on. This n Qs I have introduced. So Q R not P1 or Q R not P2 or etc. or Q R not Pn. Okay. So it is enough now. Already we have seen, suppose if you have P and PRQ. What is PRQ? T, T, F, F and T, F, T, F. If both are false, then only it will become false. Otherwise, if one is true also, it will become true. Similarly, it can be extended for PQR or any number of variables. Even for n variables, we can extend that. Okay. So now we have n expressions here. QR not P1, QR not P2, etc. If at least one becomes true, everything will become true, right? Even if all the other remaining expressions are false also, it will become true because of at least one true. For or connective, if one is true, one element is true also, we can prove, one variable is assigned true value, then it will become true, right? Therefore, it is enough to prove that one of the statements Q or not Pi is true. Not Pi is true. Okay, for some I. For some I. If you can prove that, then it will be, it follows the given statement. Okay. Similarly, consider another case. Consider the statement of the form P1 or P2 or etc. Pn conditional Q. So this will become P conditional Q is not P or Q. So negation of P1 or P2 or etc. Pn conditional or Q, right? So if you take negation inside, it will become not P1 and not P2 by De Morgan's law, not P2 and etc. and not Pn or Q. Now we have, here you have the connective and here you have the connective or, and all are different variables. Therefore, which law you will apply? Distributive law. Okay. So not P1 or Q and not P2 or Q and so on, and not Pn or Q. Okay. So that is, what is this? Not P1 or Q? P1 conditional Q. P1 conditional Q and P2 conditional Q and so on, and Pn conditional Q. Right? Therefore, here, because you have and in between, you have to prove each and every case. All the cases have to be proved. Okay. So for here, for every statement, Pi conditional Q is to be proved. Right? Every statement should be proved. This is called proof by cases. Proof by cases. Okay. Let us see some example. Consider the operator. Example. Consider the operator R. This is minimum. Okay. This is called consider the operator minimum. This is considered as, it is called minimum of. Okay. This symbol is minimum. Minimum of A comma B defined by A minimum. This is called minimum. A minimum B is equal to, it is defined as, gives the minimum of A and B. Gives the minimum of A and B. Okay. Now, let the universe be set of integers. Domain we have to define, no? So, let the universe be the set of integers. Now, to prove that, this is the question, prove that minimum function, the min function is associative. The min function is associative. So what you have to prove now? Let us prove this. So to prove that A minimum of A min B min C is equal to A min B min C. Right? So you have to, if you take the minimum of B and C first, then with the resultant value with A, if you take minimum, it should be equal to, first if you take minimum of A and B, then with the resultant value with the C, if you take, then both should be equal. Then we can prove that, we can say that it is associative, right? So what are all the possibilities? Consider any three integers A comma B comma C. Consider three integers a comma b comma c. Okay, and this should be proved for all a comma b comma c in the set of integers. Okay, so consider a comma b comma c, any integers a comma b comma c. What are the possibilities now? What are the possibilities? First condition, a less than or equal to b less than or equal to c, right? Actually, we have to consider a, b, c. The possible values for all the possibilities, we have to prove this associative. Okay, so let us consider the integers. If we are considering the integers like this, or we can consider a less than or equal to c less than or equal to b. Okay, then third one, b less than or equal to a less than or equal to c. Fourth possibility is b less than or equal to c less than or equal to a. Then fifth possibility is c less than or equal to a less than or equal to b. And next possibility is c less than or equal to b less than or equal to a. These are the 6 possibilities. We don't know. We are going to consider a, b, c, 3 integers. They can be of any one of these 6 possibilities. So we have to prove the law for all the 6 possibilities. Okay. So we have to prove the law for all the 6 possibilities. All the 6 possibilities. We don't know which will come. Okay. So we have to prove all the 6. And 1 or 2 I will do. Remaining you can prove in the same way. Okay. So consider the first one. A less than or equal to b less than or equal to c. Okay. So what is left hand side? So you have to prove that a min of b min c is equal to a min b min c. Okay. So let us consider a left hand side. LHS is equal to a min b min c. Because what is the condition now? We have assumed that b less than or equal to c, right? So what is the minimum of b and c? A min, the minimum of b and c is b, which is equal to, now the first part is over. Now we got a and b. Now we know that it is a less than or equal to b. What is the minimum of a and b? It is e. Okay, this is LHS. What about RHS? RHS is a min b min c, right? What is the minimum of a and b? Minimum of a and b is now a. We know that a less than or equal to b, right? So minimum of a and b is a. Then min c. Now we know a is less than or equal to b less than or equal to c. That means a is less than or equal to c, right? So again we got a. Minimum of a and c is also a only. So LHS is equal to RHS. Similarly, consider the second one, third one, etc. Anything. I'll take fifth one. What is fifth one? C less than or equal to a less than or equal to b. C less than or equal to a less than or equal to b. Any kind, for all the 6 you can prove like this. Okay. So to prove that, the same thing, a min b min c is equal to a min b min c. Now consider LHS in this. A min b min c is equal to, now b min c. What is the minimum of b and c? C here, right? C in the bracket. Now what is the minimum of a and c? C. So C is the answer. RHS. In RHS, a min b min c. That is minimum. What is minimum of a and b here? A, right? Minimum of a and c is again c, right? Minimum of a and b is a here. A and b is a here and c, right? And the minimum of a and c is c only. So LHS is equal to RHS. So it can be proved for all the 6 cases, right? So hence similarly we can prove all the 6 cases. Even for exam you need not write all the 6, 2 or 3 is more than enough, okay? we can prove for all the 6 cases. Now, next example 2. Prove that n plus 1 the whole power 3 is greater than or equal to 3 power n if n is a positive integer, less than or equal to 4. N less than or equal to 4, with n less than or equal to 4. So this is called, now we have, what are the values you have to prove? For n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4. We are confident that these are the values we have. Okay, for n is equal to 1 you can prove, for n is equal to 2 you can prove, n is equal to 3 and n is equal to 4 you can prove. In the previous problem, it is proof by cases. We are not sure which will come. Okay, for all the 6 cases, possible cases we have proved, but here we have we are certain that these 4 values are given. So you have to prove for all the 4 values. Okay, so this is called exhaustive proof. Exhaustive proof. So exhaustive proof is a particular case of proof by cases. Proof by cases, even we have so many cases, and even exhaustive proof we have so many cases. What is the difference then? Exhaustive proof is a particular case of proof by cases. Okay, proof by cases, possibilities are there. Here exhaustive means all these values we know, we are certain that these are the values. Okay, so for each and every value you have to prove. Okay, so what is to be proved? N plus 1 the whole cube greater than or equal to 3 power n, where n is n values are 1, 2, 3, 4. When n is equal to 1, what will happen? What is n plus 1? 2, LHS is 1 plus 1 the whole cube, which is equal to 2 cube, which is 8, and this is our LHS. And what is RHS? 3 power 1, right? Therefore, LHS is 8 is greater than or equal to 3. Therefore, LHS is greater than RHS. 8 greater than or equal to 3. When n is equal to 2, what will be the values? N is equal to 2 means 3 power, n is equal to 2 plus 1, 3 power 3. 3 power 3 is 27. This is our LHS. What is RHS? 3 power 2, that is 9. So 27 greater than or equal to 9. Okay. For n is equal to 3, LHS is 3 plus 1, 4 cube, which is equal to 64. Right? RHS is 3 plus 1, 4 cube. Yeah. So RHS is 3 power n, 3 power 3, which is 27. Therefore, 64 greater than or equal to 27. Right? Then for n is equal to 4, LHS is 5 power 3. That is n is equal to 4, 4 plus 1, 5 power 3, which is 125. And what is RHS value? It is 3 power 4. 3 power 4 is 81. So 125 greater than or equal to 81. So in all the 4 cases, we have proved that LHS is greater than or equal to RHS. Therefore, in each of the 4 cases, n plus 1 the whole power 3 is greater than or equal to 3 power n. Hence the proof. This is what we wanted to prove, right? For all the 4 cases, we have proved that it is true. Okay. So next is proof by contradiction. Proof by contradiction. Proof by contradiction already we have seen in in proving that the indirect method. We have direct method CP, rule CP, and indirect method. No, it is similar to indirect method only. This is nothing but indirect method only. Okay. So that is also called proof by contradiction. And another name for this is reductio ad absurdum. Okay. So to prove that here, what is the method to prove that? To prove that P is true. P is true. Assume that not P is true and arrive at a contradiction. Assume that not P is true and arrive at a contradiction. Arrive at a contradiction. This is the method for proof by contradiction. Okay. So if you want to prove that P is true, assume that not P is true. Then you consider all the premises and arrive at a contradiction. Contradiction means what? P and not P, or Q and not P, R and not R, anything, right? So let us see one example. Prove that root 2 is irrational. Root 2 is irrational number. Or root 2 is not a rational number. You can. So let us see the proof. Very simple, but this is important. Okay, prove that root 2 is irrational number. You can expect for university exam. So let P be the statement. Root 2 is not irrational number. Sorry, not a rational number. Not a rational number or irrational number. So not a rational number. So what is not P now? Root 2 is a rational number, right? What is a rational number? I hope all of you know the definition of rational number. Rational number R means you should be able to write in the form of P by Q, where P and Q are integers with Q not equal to 0, right? And when the real number is not rational number, it is called irrational number. Okay. So now let us assume that not P conditional Q, if it is a rational number, then you can write in the form of Q. What is Q? Where Q is equal to, Q is the statement, root 2 is equal to P by Q, where P comma Q belong to Z and Q not equal to 0. P comma Q are integers. Okay. Z means integers. And assume that P comma Q are relatively prime or relative primes. Okay. That means what? There are no common factors, right? Relative prime means no common factors. No common factors between P and Q, right? We have assumed Q. Now we are going to derive one more premise. See, consider root 2. Root 2 is what? Just now we have proved that it is a rational number, right? Rational number means what? It can be written as P by Q. This is our Q actually. Q. What is Q? Root 2 is a rational number. Root 2 can be written as P by Q. This is our Q. We started with Q, right? So this is, now if you square on both sides, squaring on both sides, you will be getting 2 is equal to P squared by Q squared, right? So this implies P squared is equal to 2Q squared. That means what? P squared is even, right? P squared is even, right? When P squared is even, we know that P is even. Already we have proved in the previous theorems, right? P is even. Therefore, what can you write about P? P is equal to 2R, right? Because P is even, P can be written as 2 into some number, integer R. So now you substitute in this. Therefore, 2R the whole square. Wait. Therefore, p squared is equal to 2q squared will become, p squared is what? 2r the whole square is equal to 2q squared, right? So this implies 4r squared is equal to 2q squared. That means 2 will get cancelled here. Q squared is equal to 2r squared. Q squared is 2r squared means what? Q squared is even, right? If it can be written as 2 into some number, it is called even. So Q squared is 2r squared. So Q is equal to, Q squared is even implies Q is also even. Q is even, right? So Q can be written as 2s. Another number 2s, right? So now what we have derived? P is equal to 2r, right? Here. P is equal to 2r and Q is equal to 2s, right? So we have derived P is equal to 2r and Q is equal to 2s, where r and s are also integers. What do you mean by this? By seeing this, what can you observe? This is 2r, this is also 2 into s. So 2 is a common factor of p and q, right? So p and q have common factor 2. Common factor 2. That is, we started with q, then we arrived at not q. We started with q, root 2 is equal to p by q. We arrived at not q, right? Therefore, see. Now, which is a contradiction actually. From q, we are deriving at not q. It is a contradiction. Therefore, root 2 is a, we can finalize that. You can conclude that root 2 is a not a rational number. Okay. Now, consider the statement, the premises, how we are going to prove logically. Direct method we are going to use. So, what are the premises now? Actually, we want P is to be true. Assume that not P is the statement. So, the premises are not P. This is the assumed premise, not P. And not P conditional Q we have. And we have one more, we have derived now Q conditional not Q. Now, to arrive at a contradiction. So, by using our direct method, introduce the first premise not P. I am introducing a premise that is not P. And second one, I am introducing not P conditional Q. Because I am introducing, it is rule P. Now I am going to use a formula. This is Q, right? Not P conditional Q, not P comma not P conditional Q implies Q. It is what? Rule T. It is a formula. Which steps I have used? 1 and 2. And which theorem we have used? Modus ponens. I11 implication. I11, that is modus ponens. Right? Next I am going to introduce Q conditional not Q. That is rule P. I am introducing a premise, therefore it is rule P. Now Q comma Q conditional not Q is not Q. That is rule T. From which steps? 3 comma 4. So I11 again. I11 modus ponens. You can write the name also. Okay. So next step is, see, in the third step I have Q and fifth step I have not Q. So P comma Q implies P and Q, right? So Q and not Q. This is again rule T, I9, right? Which steps? 3 comma 5. I9. Disjunction. Okay. So which is a contradiction. Therefore, not P is not correct. Not P is not correct. Therefore, P is true. This is the conclusion. Okay. What is our P? Root 2 is not a rational number. So P is true. We have taken not P and we have arrived at a contradiction. Okay. Next we have some more theorems which have quantifiers So there are 4 types. Quickly I'll tell you. Not of there exists. The forms we can have. The theorems which have quantifiers. Theorems which have quantifiers. Already we have proved all these things. So just recollect that. So not of there exists P of x we can have. And the second one, there exists x P of x we can have. And third type is not of for all x P of x. And fourth one is for all x P of x. So these are the 4 types we can have. First one is, this one we can prove. This is called proof by contradiction. We can prove these kind of statements by proof by contradiction. This is what? Existence proof. For example, if you have, there are 2 types in existence. Directly you can find out the existent value. Otherwise, sometimes you will get some confusion. 2 or 3 values will be there. You may have to find out. So there are, one is constructive and another one is non-constructive. You can expect theory part also. Questions can be from theory part also. Okay. So this gives the element C. This gives the element C for which you may be able to find out the exact value C, for which P of C is true. Example, Rolle's theorem, Lagrange's mean value theorem and all. Okay, so we used to find out the value of C, right, in M1. So same thing. That is an example for finding the value of C. You will be able to find out the definite value C between the interval A comma B. So non-constructive, sometimes you will not. Here we know the formulas. Here non-constructive will be, there will not be any clue for this. Okay. So no clue will be given for which C will satisfy. No clue will be given for which C it will satisfy. So for some C, some other option we may have to find out C. Directly we may not be able to find out, right? Then next is, third one is, there exists for all x P of x. This is equivalent to, this is not there exists, not of for all x P of x, that is, there exists x not of P of x. This is equivalent to contradiction method only. Okay. So fourth one, instead of the statement there exists, you have to prove existence proof only. Now for all x P of x, you have to find out, consider the arbitrary element C. These kind of statements, consider arbitrary element C and then prove for all x P of x. Example, if n is even, any arbitrary value, n integer, arbitrary integer we are taking. So if n is even, not if, n is even, if and only if n squared is even. Already we have proved this, n squared is even. So we are taking any arbitrary value, arbitrary integer n, and we are proving that. This already we have proved that P conditional Q, and you have to prove both, okay, and Q conditional P. We have proved this by direct method and this by contraposition method. Okay, already we have proved this. Either for even or odd we have proved already. So same thing can be followed. So with this, the first unit is over, and next class we will start unit 2. Okay, and practice more problems for this. And thank you so much for listening.